Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Not good night yet because you're supposed to be here. How is everyone doing? I missed you last Friday. So I had to travel for a conference and I couldn't be here because I didn't want to be divided, my attention divided. So I had to cancel the show or reschedule or whatever. So we couldn't have a show last Friday. But we're back. We are back and we're strong and we're sometimes it might happen, not all the time, but I'll let you know in advance. So welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Whether you're live here, whether you replay, always go in the comments and leave always go to the comment section outside the chat and leave a message concerning what you watched. And of course, every week we're gonna send you, or I'm gonna post on Instagram or my Facebook page the nuggets we got out of the show. Okay, so welcome everyone for being here. I appreciate you all. You could have been anywhere else, but you're here supporting, watching, learning, getting empowered, getting motivated, getting inspired. Thank you so much for being here. All right, now that I got out of the way, I have a guest. You guys see my Instagram post? I said, "Boo, we got a guest." An amazing person. I just met her. I am on her IG page like glue, watching what she's doing. I'm fascinated. I was going to change my African accent. Fascinated. What's that? Fascinated by this woman and what she does. You're going to hear her. You're going to see her. The beautiful, amazing Portia. I will introduce her, but you just watch. Okay. So she's in the studio. Let me bring her in. I don't have my pom poms. Let me see. What should I use? Yeah. Okay. Let me bring her in first. Let me bring her in first. All right. Are you
Hi,
ready?
how are you?
There she
How
is.
are you?
I'm good. You look beautiful as ever.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Why you get your hair done so quick?
Oh my
Welcome to the
God.
show. Welcome to
Thank
Get
you.
Sense with a Jenny.
I'm excited to be here. I'm really excited.
Awesome. Awesome. You look good as always.
Thank you. You look good too.
Thank
I
you.
love
It's been
I love your background. It's so inspiring.
thank
It's like,
you.
listen,
Thank
I gotta
you.
everywhere I go, I gotta remind myself I need to work hard, be grateful. Just your vision board. It's cool.
Uh, thank
It's
you. So it was in front of me. I used to have a black thing here that has the show name. I'm like, okay, I need to change this up. That way it looks bright and it shows who I really am. So
yeah,
those have been there. I just took the cloth off and then put my vision board in front of me to back there because I can see it. So yeah, thank you so much. So you can
yeah,
see. So that's an old one. I have the current one that has, our stuff. It has all the goals and all that good stuff there. So
yeah.
thank you so much for observing that. So welcome to the Get Sense with a Jenny.
Yes.
So how you doing today?
I'm doing really good. This morning I was like, "Oh my god, I have to hurry up." I have like a million and one things to
I
do this
know, me too,
morning,
me too, me
but
too.
I
I had
made
to
it.
quickly.
Yeah, I made it happen and I'm here and I'm excited for this conversation.
Thank you so much. All right, so we're gonna get. I'm hoping this will be 30 minutes, but it always lasts longer. And if it does, we're trying to feed these people with knowledge and nuggets that they can use to better their lives, right?
Yes.
So I we met. Let me tell them a story. We met at the elevators. Actually, a friend of mine spoke to you, and then we all started kind of talking to you, and we learned so much about this young lady in less than 5 minutes in Las Vegas, and we keep talking about her. So I posted I put my post out on Instagram, and she said, "Let's collaborate." And she's very active on social media, and we're doing the same things that we're doing aside social media, or using social media to do what we're doing. And I found out so much about this young lady, and I'm so, prayer works,
Yes, it
right? I said I always want people who are just amazing to be on the show. Some of them are interviews, some of them are conversations. So you and I are having a conversation about the topic, and then to learn more about you. So I would say go ahead and introduce yourself to us.
Okay, so my name is Portia. I live in Canada. I live in Burlington, Ontario, in Canada. And I love having conversations because I believe that God gives us stories so that we can have conversations about these stories so that lives can be transformed, right?
Wow.
Because, I've been through a lot of things in my life. And today's topic is so important because all of us have, in some way, had a relationship or situationship. And we had situationships and we didn't even know that we had situationships. So now somebody had put a name on it, right?
Yep.
And we're confused and we're trying to figure it out. But I think with everything, I always say that my mission in life is bigger than me. My mission
Mm.
is bigger than me because God put me through, I went through the things that I went through for God to be glorified, right? I went through what
Wow.
I went through so that I can now be in a position where I have this opportunity to speak for so that other people's lives can be transformed, right? And
Wow.
that's what I always say.
Wow.
When we're going through situations, we think that it hurts, it's painful, but yes, you had to be the person to go through it so that one day somebody can say, if she can go through it, then I can go it through it too. So in a nutshell, my name is Portia. I'm from Canada and I have 6 children. People are always like, oh my God, that's a lot.
You
But
see
yeah,
my eyes? I've heard it before, but when you look at her, you don't see that. But nobody walks around like they have 10 kids or one
yes,
child
yes,
or whatever. But go
yes.
ahead.
Yes, I have 6 children between the ages of 2 and 4, almost 14. And my kids, kids are a blessing. It's fun. Sometimes there's up and down, but you know what? Most of the times it's fun and we're blessed, right? And I'm single. I'm single. I'm single and I'm waiting for the Lord. Okay. I'm waiting for the Lord because you know what? Sometimes I think that being single, we tend to think it's a curse. But I'm
Mm.
so blessed. I love being single because it has allowed me to really get to know who I am, to
Wow.
know who my Lord is, who God has called me to be, and how to do this life, right? And I'm so excited to have a conversation with you guys. So over to you. And as we go, you guys will get to know a little bit more about me.
Wow. All right. So that's a mouthful. I love the introduction. That's a lot. Like I said, we met her within 5 minutes. This is exactly who she is. And that God works in mysterious ways. I told God once I turned 40, I want people around me, young, old, doesn't matter, who are like quality people. Les Brown says OQP, only quality people around you, right? And I immediately thought that you were a quality person based
Oh,
on your
thank you.
conversation. Yes, and how you compose yourself and how you speak. And then you say you're a speaker. I'm like, yeah, of course, she's a speaker. And then you have 6 kids. And then my friend was asking you how. I mean, like, you look like you're 25. When did you start having kids? And you said your age. I mean, if you remember, we were talking and everything. We're all tired, but she was asking. I mean, we were bombarding you with questions. I'm sure you're like, who are these human beings?
No, I wasn't
But
like
then,
that.
yeah, so honestly speaking, and this is not to dive into your personal life, but how did you end up with, I mean, not that how did you end up, but you look so young
Yes.
and you're single and you have 6 kids. Give me
Yes.
like a
So
brief, not to go into your private life, but
so
just
it's
like,
okay. You know what? Like I said, I'm an open book. And I just hope and pray that with everything that I share that is spoken on here, that somebody's life can be transformed. Because I believe that that's why you started this thing. Because
yes,
we need lives to be transformed. We need
exactly.
people to see that God is bigger than their
Mm,
situation. We need people
mm,
to see that, yes, you're going through this, but what it says that joy cometh in the morning, right?
wow,
Yeah, even when there's storms, there's rain, there's always a rainbow that comes, right? So
wow,
always tap in on that. And I believe that sharing our stories is how people are able to see glimpse of hope and glimpse of rainbows in their lives, right?
wow,
And one thing about me, in the Bible, it talks about, there was a flood and Noah, and it says that the Lord brought the rainbow to remind us that he will not flood and destroy people anymore, right?
wow, wow, wow,
And I call glimpse of rainbow. Like every time I'm going through something and then something happens, I'm like, oh God, thank you for sending me that rainbow. I'm
rainbow,
always looking for rainbows
rainbows, and
in my life because those rainbows are God's way of reminding me that he's got me.
He's there, he's
He's
got you.
got me.
Wow, that's
So
deep.
it's like I call them rainbows. So even I'll be walking, like I'll be in a bad mood, and somebody will come and say something and it encourages me. I'm like, God, thank you for the rainbow.
Wow,
I
wow,
needed this rainbow, right?
wow,
Because we all need to have reminders that there's still hope. And that's what my platform is. Even if you're
wow.
on my social media, that's what I want to do. Give people hope, whether it's through finances, whether it's true, no matter what it is. I just want to just spread hope
Spread
and
hope.
spread grace, be gracious to people. Because ultimately that's what it's all about.
That's
So
what it's all about.
so basically with me, I had my first child when I was 21, almost 22. And I believe that my relationship, now that we're quantifying what situationship is, I was with a man for 10 years, and I can tell you right now, I was in a situationship. I was not in a relationship, right?
Mm.
Because a relationship is where we always talk about, even relationship with God. We're consistently tapping into, you consistently know what that person likes, what that person does not like, what is that person's vision, what is their philosophy for their life. I did not know. And I thought I was in a relationship, but really I was in a relationship by myself. He did not believe that. Because a man who knows that they're in a relationship with you guys have the same goals and stuff, will make a commitment to be there. We'll make a commitment to want to grow each other, make each other better.
To do right by you.
Yes, we'll want to make a commitment not to cheat. We'll want to make a commitment. We'll want to make a commitment to communicate, right? Even when there's something going on, because you guys are one. You guys are intertwined, right? And that's what it is. Because a lot of time I was in a situationship, right? And I don't mind. I don't mind saying it. Right?
Admitting that, yeah,
I don't mind admitting it, right? And sometimes I'm like, you know what? If I knew who I was, if
was.
I loved myself, I wouldn't have put myself through that. But you know what? Even that, there were blessings. I'm blessed to have my children, right? I'm blessed to have my children, but I wish that I did things differently. But even that, right? This is also another rainbow for God to give me that glimpse and say that, you know what? Now this is your ministry. So him taking the
Oh,
mess and making it a message.
Matt said, oh, I got goosebumps. Wow, thank you. Oh my goodness. Look at the chat just going off. I mean, we have Mom and me saying joy comes in the morning, and
Yeah.
then you said in a relationship you make a commitment to be together. And then Chinaya, wonderful people in the chat, they said, yes, grow each other. That's correct. I'm getting goosebumps. You are on
Mm.
the road. You've said so many things. Normally I have a note on all my shows. I couldn't even write. I'm like, I have to go back and play. So thanks for sharing your
Yeah.
personal your life and defining relationship before I even got there. Because when I started, I said I have a screen, I have two screens. So I wanted to define a relationship and define situationships, and let's really go in there. And
Hmm.
you hit something that I could have easily said. If you're my friend in the chat, you already know we talked about these kind of things where you're in a marriage or in a relationship where it's really you doing all the love and all the sharing and all the giving, and that person is just standing there like, oh, you're doing it, so I
Yeah.
don't have to do it. And then so I told somebody last time, I said, you know what? A lot of times women, and I say women because I'm a woman, we go into a relationship with all hopes. Like everything's going to be perfect. It's going to be good.
Yeah.
I'm going to change him. We're going to change. And then you realize that the person is who they are. And then when you start growing is when you start realizing that
Yeah.
you're in this by yourself. So let me start by defining what a relationship is. And
Yeah.
before we So I thought situationships, I created that word and I was feeling like a genius. I'm like, you know what? Let me just go to Google and type situationship. And it's a thing. And I told you, like, nope, you didn't create it. It's been there as a thing. Like you've been in one before. I'm like, I thought I was creating it. So a relationship is the way in which two people are connected, period. And then everything that goes with it.
Yeah.
Okay? A situationship, I didn't know it was a word. It says is less than a relationship,
Hmm.
but more than a casual encounter or booty call. A situationship refers to a romantic relationship that is and remains undefined.
Yeah. That's a problem.
A situationship is that space between a committed relationship and something that is more than a friendship. And that was explained by the psychotherapist. I'm thinking this word, I created this stuff. Whew.
That's a problem.
Listen,
Houston, we have a problem. No, we have a problem. And that's what it is, because I believe that as women, we are we need to have a standard. And that's what I had to learn.
ooh,
We need to
we
set a standard
moderators type
for
this in.
ourselves. We need to have a standard for ourselves. We need to know what it is that we want out of life, because we are accepting too many things, because to me, this is a made up word based on the norm that was going on, because we once a word is made, we normalize it. It
Yes,
becomes normal.
it's
And there's
it.
so many people in situationships, and it's normal and it's okay. And then you are in your room, crying at night because you want to be bae. You're being called bae, but you're not really in a relationship with somebody, right? And it's a problem. We need to set a standard, and we cannot continue to allow a lot of these things to happen, because at the end of the day, what's your worth, right? Being in a relationship, I was in a relationship for 10 years, from I was 19 years of age to 29. I got my whole 20s was stolen, right? Because of my choices. Because I knew this was not going anywhere. I did not have a defined relationship. I just thought, you know what? And sometimes we're in our head, like we're in this la la land, right? We need to accept what the truth is. It's okay to accept it. Accept the truth. Like, this man is not calling you for 2 weeks. And then he calls you, and then you want to go run in bed with him because, oh my god, he said two things that are so, oh my god, he just he wasn't there because, and then even a lot of times some of these,
We make excuses for
yes,
them,
and
and it's
people in,
okay.
yes, there are times where people in situationships, the man is not in a relationship, but there are times where he is in a relationship.
Yeah.
Because if he's in a situationship and he's not calling you, and he's calling you whenever, and there's no commitment, what makes you think you're the only one?
What? Woo!
What makes
It's
you think
over.
you're the only one? Because now, because there's no connectiveness,
There's no
because you're
yeah.
not growing together, he has the room to do whatever he
He
wants.
wants. Wow.
And you can't get upset.
Okay.
And that's why
Well,
some
well, 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 we do. We
men,
get upset because we think we're entitled because
yeah,
he's spending this time with us. When we get
yeah, but
offended, we think it's
yes.
okay, and then when they apologize temporarily, okay, well, he apologized, and then
I
yeah,
love
he
he just loved me, like, oh my god, like he said that I'm the only one, and that he just
he
left
will
because
die. He will
he
die.
had a business meeting that I couldn't come to. But you know what? It's okay because I'm here now. And he calls me every day, and he sends me all these gooey text messages. Girl, it don't matter. If a real man, this is the thing, a real man will love you and appreciate you and will want to spoil you in a relationship, not a situation.
Where are these real men, sir? Where are they?
There are a lot of real men out there. There
Okay.
are a lot of, I believe, this is the thing. There are a lot of real men out there, right? It's just that the thing is, where your focus goes, your energy will flow. If you
Oh,
work on your,
moderators, please say that one more time. Hey,
where your focus goes, your energy will flow. What
where
you
your focus
surround,
goes, your
yes, what
ooh.
what you surround yourself with is what you're going to attract.
So would you admit that where your focus was when you were 21 attracted the
Of
guy
course, because
and you maintained that for 10 years? And that's
I
what a
was
lot of women are
broken.
doing.
I was broken.
Wow.
I always say, broken seeks broken.
Hey.
Broken is like, I always say, I do a lot of journaling, and I remember one time I said that brokenness is like a lighthouse.
Mm.
A man knows when
When
you're,
a woman's
yes, he can sense
he
it.
knows when you're broken, he knows when you're heartbroken, and he feeds off of that.
Yes,
Because
because
you're literally like this hungry, I see relationship as this. A lot of broken women who have been hurt a lot from the past, from current, from the same relationship. They're like penguins trying to feed off of, like, when penguins are trying to feed off of
their
their
parents, yeah.
offspring. Imagine that fish never comes out. That's the woman all the time.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the respect for himself to give you, but you keep hoping for it. He
Yes.
doesn't have the commitment to give you the way you want it, but you're still hungry for it. So with
Yeah.
that little one time he says he's sorry, that little just one time he shows love, oh, we forget everything else they've done and we stay. So I think a lot of us robots, that's a word, it's not a new word, but we robot through relationships because we don't know, because we're seeking for something that's not internal,
Yeah.
that we're seeking for, how I put it, we're seeking for something external that we need to fix internally.
Yeah. Hmm.
And
Yeah.
that's by knowing
Hmm.
who exactly we are and what we want.
Yeah.
Like my sister was
You
on a
hit it.
show. Yeah, my sister was on a show weeks ago and she said she tried to start with knowing what she doesn't want.
Hmm.
So let's go into this whole situationship thing. So I thought about this topic because I hear a lot of marital issues, even including me, marital issues. People talking about if it's not my friends, it's my friend's friends. If it's not my friend's friends, it's somebody out there. It's Nollywood. See what's happening with our Ghanaian stars and Nigerian stars. I mean, they're getting married and divorcing, and I
Yeah.
mean, I just saw some people get married. I'm like, oh, I wish my wedding was like that. They had like a glass staircase. They were dancing out. They had the whole Ashurabi and all that good stuff. And again, the divorce. I'm like, what did I miss?
Yeah.
Because it was for show. So
Yeah.
I developed this whole topic by there's some marriages that are in situationships
Hmm.
where there's no communication, no love, so they're just raising their kids and having sex. No goals, no vision. I'm just saying. Because nobody wants to go get a divorce because it's too much of a problem, but they don't want to resolve the issues they're having. It is happening today.
It is.
So it's identifying what you don't want. I want a relationship. I don't want a situationship. So how do you stop this from happening? Like how do we've already gone 22 minutes. I told you it's going to be past 30 minutes. So how do we as women, maybe I'll have men come on the show and talk about it.
Yeah.
How do we not be in, how do we avoid being in a situationship and have a
Okay.
quality relationship?
Okay. So,
Tips, give me tips.
even at the conference, a lot of people talk, even in life in general, what is your vision for yourself?
Ooh, vision for yourself.
You
What
need
is
to
vision?
have a vision for yourself, right?
Mm,
Because your vision will drive the things that you do, right? Because if you don't have a vision, you don't have a purpose, and you're just living, you're going to just go and think, because then you don't have a destination, you don't have a
yeah,
journey that you're on. And I believe
yeah.
that a lot of women are just like depending on where you came from and
Mm,
how your childhood was. What's your childhood traumas? A lot of times we are leaving our childhood traumas to try to find things to replace, to try to find things to
to
live.
fill it up.
Yeah, we cannot do that.
Moderators, you're missing nuggets. Come on, go ahead.
You cannot do that, right? You cannot leave yourself. You cannot leave a hole within yourself and go try to find things to fill it. And that's what a lot of times we do as women. If you, let's say, grew up with, like without a father in your life, you grow up seeking that fatherly love from outside, right? You cling on to men on the words of what every man is telling you, right? Because you're missing that love, you're always trying to replace it with something. But I
Something.
think, there's a book that I read. We did a book club, and it's, I think, by Oprah and this next psychologist, and it was about what happened to you. The book
Mm,
is called What Happened to You. Because
okay.
a lot of times we don't address what happened to us. We don't come to terms with what happened to us. And we're always trying to find things and kind of put it away and try to go on in life. And all of it always comes back because we need to confront to conquer. You need to
Mm.
confront. You need to come to that.
Moderators.
You need to come and say, you know what? I was hurt as a child.
Mm,
I'm looking at men and I'm trying to seek validation from men because you know what? Growing up, I didn't have a great father in my life. My
mm,
father abandoned me. So I try to seek love from men that way, right? Or
mm-hmm.
I'm broken and I'm hurt. So I'm trying to fix. And that's the thing about women. We need to stop being Bob the Builder. We need to
Wow.
stop trying to fix people. We need to stop trying to fix people. We're always trying to fix people.
Mm.
It's not your job to
It's
fix
not
somebody.
your job,
Your
man.
job is to fix yourself. And like example with my story, you know, I was trying to fix him. I
Mm.
was trying to make him better. I left my wounds to try to
Wow.
go heal somebody's wounds,
And
right?
how is that possible?
And
Right?
that's the thing.
Yeah.
Because eventually you're going to get overwhelmed because that person, if that person doesn't accept to want to heal themselves, there's nothing that you can do to help that person. You can encourage, encourage, encourage. But if that person is not willing to do it, you can't do nothing for
You
them.
can't. If they don't even see a need, a lot of times this men or women. Sometimes it's both ways. I'm not trying to say it's women being in
It's both.
situationships.
It's
It's
both.
both. There's
Hmm.
sometimes so me like Oprah says something. Fill yourself up so you
Yeah.
can pour into somebody else.
Yeah.
You cannot not grow up from love. If you grew up from out of love, you always want to over love, and
Hmm.
it gets overwhelming. And then when you stop, it becomes a problem. So
Yeah.
what I got from you is so many things. You said address. The book says address what happened to you. So a lot of times is so ultimately what you're saying is know who you are and knowing where you're coming from
Hmm.
before you
Hmm.
decide to go into a relationship. Like I
Yeah.
see my kids are my older kids are 18 and 14. And when my son was in college, in high school, all his friends were getting girlfriends. Everybody was getting girlfriends when they finished high school.
Hmm.
I was talking and talking, and I wasn't talking at him. I was talking to him
Hmm.
to say, "Don't go get a girlfriend because of your friends." They don't know even what they want. They don't even know what college is gonna be like. Every single one of them broke up with their girlfriends first year of college.
Hmm.
And I kept talking to him. I talked to my kids. Even my daughter, 14-year-old, has friends who have boyfriends. I'm like, watch and see how long that's gonna last. Because what are they gonna talk about? Is it sex? Sex is the same thing when we get old, when they're younger. And I talk to my kids about these things. I'm not ashamed. So it's because I said I always tell my son, you don't know who you are yet at 18, no matter how you think. Even 21, you're still finding yourself.
Yeah.
So I think ultimately what you're saying, you said confront. What is it? Confront. You need to confront to conquer.
Yeah.
If you don't confront your wounds and your demons and your baggage and whatever else, you cannot make a man to act the way you want to, so you can accept him.
Yeah.
So that's one thing.
Mhm.
But what other things can we do not to find ourselves in situationships like married women or married men who are in marriages that they're not talking. There's no communication. There are no plans. Like you said something.
Yeah.
What is your vision? The man before anybody gets married, before you get into a relationship, what is your vision for your life? And what's your vision for this relationship?
Yeah.
Your kids are bugging you.
No, no, no. He was coming downstairs. But no, it's so important, right? Because the thing is, even especially when we're even looking at let's even bring our community to play right now, right? There I don't know why there's timelines on women when you should be married,
Mhm.
timelines on women when you should have children,
Expectations, yeah.
timelines on women when you should do like there's so many timelines. Men don't have a lot of these timelines.
No, they don't.
But a lot of women have these timelines. And a lot of times there's also so much pressure from
Yeah,
outside. So people get into situationships not because they want to, but because they feel the pressure that I need to be married. So then
that's a
they
good point.
accept whatever they get. Because I
Mm,
have a timeline, my clock is ticking. You hear all these women, even though there's so many women now having children at 40 and all of that, we have society has conditioned women to be on a timeline, and that if you
mm.
don't satisfy this at this time, then you're not a woman. And even
You're
some
not.
people be like, oh, are you a lesbian because I don't see you in a relationship,
Yeah,
right? And then also culturally, you're taking it from, let's say, a societal thing. And then each individual culture is also putting pressure on you. There's so many people in our culture that has gotten married and they get divorced right away because
yeah.
at the end of the day, it's their parents making decisions for them.
For
It's
them.
other people making decisions for them, not them making decisions for themselves,
Mm,
right? You see people, oh, my friend's son, and you guys should get married and this and that. There's this prayer line that I'm on, and we're doing a discussion, and it was this girl the day before the wedding. She decided she doesn't want to go through it. She decided she didn't want to go through it, and they are now like the in-laws are upset with her because you wasted our time and this and this and this and that. But I thank her for that courage and that boldness
because it's
because
better late than never.
yes, because she said that she had a dream
Oh boy.
Had a dream, and then in that dream it's just, and she was like, a dream that kept on happening and happening, but she kept on ignoring it. And then it just got, she had a dream, and in that dream it's just the way the relationship, something that she saw, and she's like, you know what, this is like, it's not sitting right with me. I'm not gonna get married, right? And that's, but then we will see somebody like that as, oh, she's not, she's weak, oh,
Yeah.
you're so this and that, but she's
Yeah.
strong because she finally took her power in her hands, because it was her mom and her
Oh
parents.
wow.
Even the whole wedding, her parents planned the wedding,
Wow. And
right?
it's their excitement, not hers.
It's not hers. It's not
Wow.
hers. So I think we need to start being so comfortable and confident within ourselves that we are okay with the decisions that we're making with ourselves, not
Hmm.
accepting other people's ideas of what we should do and who we should be in. Even sometimes we're in situationships or relationships, and we have the other party making decisions for how we should. Oh, what should I do? What should I eat? You have a business plan. Oh my God, what should I do? And then people discourage you from the things that you're doing because you're not comfortable enough to accept your own decisions,
Yeah, it's true.
right?
Wow.
We need to
That's
be
true.
confident within ourselves. We need to do that inner work. I've been doing that inner work. I've been single for 7 years. I've
Wow.
been doing the inner
Woo.
work. The inner work is so important. We have to do the inner work so that we're not accepting mediocrity,
Whoa. Do
right?
not accept mediocrity.
A
For
lot of us are so
yourself. That's
yes,
what you said in the beginning. Have standards.
yes.
Once you have the standards, like my sister said, you know what you don't want.
Mm-hmm.
That way it gives you clarity to what you do want. So down the
Yes.
line, you don't find yourself like, for me, when I think about things in my own life and my story and everything, there's some decisions that I've made that I would have preferred being single and working on myself even before I had kids. That way I know what I don't want. That way you
Mm-hmm.
avoid breakup and divorce and all the
Yeah.
stuff. Right?
Yes.
I would rather be single and know that okay, these are the things that I do not want. Because like you said, there's not I shouldn't go with my parents' timeline. And I shouldn't go with because a man is desperate to want to get married to me, that means he loves me. No. I
Yeah.
shouldn't go with, okay, well, if he cheated on me and he apologized, it's okay. And then I mean, it's happening. It is not acceptable. So, yes, set your standards. If you're going to stay in a relationship, let there be a definition. What is the expectation? What are we doing? What is the next step? And if
Mhm.
this next step is, okay, I want to get married in 5 years, and you've been dating for 10 years, it's to me personally, it's time for you to go. If
Mhm.
you've been dating, you can look over you can look over your child. I know mine are sleeping, so we're good. That's why it's 11 o'clock on Friday. You know, you know. If you've been dating for 10 years, and
Mhm.
his goal is to get married to you in 5 years,
Mhm.
to me that's 15 years of your life.
Mhm.
And where's commitment? It's all verbal promise. To
Mhm.
me, I would say, okay, we're gonna break up and move on. And if in 5 years either of us are available, then we can go.
Mhm.
I would rather you fix
Yeah.
yourself up and be single and plan yourself better than be in a situation. I'm telling you, so marriages, when I hear them, they simply from us from outside, they suck. There are marriages where the man is in control. She cannot speak. In 2022, the woman cannot talk. She has no opinions. In the business that we're in, you have a husband and wife, you're talking to them about something that will benefit their family, and they're like, let's go talk about it. You're already late. That's one. Two, if you talk to the woman, she's saying, you know what, let me go talk to my husband about it, which is respectful, that you
Yeah.
see the vision and you know that she's not able to make decisions for herself, even when it's good for her family. So I
Yeah.
think what I'm trying to say in a sense is what you've said too, but I'm just trying to bring it all together is know exactly who you are and knowing what you want
Mhm.
gives you clarity to know where you are.
Yeah. And I wanted to tap into the marriage relationship too. I'm not married, but I think you don't need to marry to be married to have common sense. I'm just saying. All right? But
You
I
guys
think
hear that? You don't need to be married to get common sense. Boom. Put that in
no,
there.
because I think like in the marriage relationship, I think a lot of times there's a way we can all, I believe that what you see is what you repeat, right?
Woo!
So I think
What
a lot
you see is
of
what
times,
you repeat.
because
Moderators,
let's
welcome
say,
everybody. 1 second, Portia. Welcome everybody. I forgot to welcome my people. Welcome every single person who's watching. I welcomed you guys in the beginning. Maybe you didn't hear me because you weren't here. Now that you're here, thank you so much. We have our guest Portia Boateng, an amazing female, strong woman, mother of six, a young mother of 6 years old, and 6 years old, six kids, and she is single, a speaker, a financial professional, all kinds of things. So welcome. Go ahead and communicate, engage, write out what she's saying, give her props. I need some fire in the chat to let her know how amazing she's doing. Let's show her how get sensors do in in the show or on the show. Thank you so much for being here. Go ahead. Sorry for cutting you off.
so yes, what you see is what you repeat. So
Wow.
I think a lot of times, because the way that your ideas, and even to men and women, how a lot of times we now repeat it is how was your parents' marriage?
Mm,
How was your growing up? What did you see? What did you see? Because a lot of times, if you really sit back, you start to adopt a lot of the things that you were doing. A lot,
mm,
it's not the fact that the man wants to control everything, but that's all he knows. That's all he knows, because in their household, that's what happened, right?
mm.
The father controlled everything. And especially in the African home, a lot of fathers were just providers, right? They were detached from the rearing of the children. They just provided, and they just felt that, you know what, I'm providing. I'm going to work. I'm bringing the food. I'm
That's my
giving you
job.
money to
Yeah.
cook the food, to do this,
So
right?
there was no relationship really.
And then no, there was a relationship, but I think because they just thought that the father's role is just to provide and the mother's role is to rear, right? So there was that disconnect. But then let's take it back. That was the same thing through their mother and father. And then their
Mm-hmm.
mother and father, that was the same thing. So it becomes a generational thing. So sometimes we need to really look back, and we need to see, we need to reject some of the things that has been, that's what we talk about, generational curses and generational cycles, because it's become a cycle that we've accepted and adopted it without even knowing
Renee,
we're doing it.
we're living in it,
We're
doing it.
living,
Yes.
right? Because if we go back and we start to really look at it, and we start to pray against it, we start to make changes, we could be the one that changes the direction of the next generation. Because the
Wow.
way you are parenting, the way your household is the way your children are also going to repeat it,
Mm,
right? So
mm.
it's like, who's going to stop it?
Who's
That's
gonna
why
stop it?
that's why as
Yes.
parents and as in the marriage relationship, I think we need to do a lot of work to really reject what the old people did, because you're not your mom, you're not your dad, you're not your environment. You are you and your partner.
Yes. You are your partner now, not
Yes,
when you were younger, not
yes,
when your parents were doing
yes,
their thing.
yes.
Amazing.
So
Amazing.
you need to go back, and you guys need to sit, even if the marriage relationship is going out and it's turning into a situation, nobody's communicating this and that. You need to sit down. If you really desire this relationship, you go back and sit down and now start to have the important conversations that you never had in the beginning. Because a lot of relationships, especially in the African community, were put together, right? And they didn't have the time to really go through, okay, who are you? What do you like? How many kids do you want? A lot of relationships, we don't have these important conversations. What do you want? Like, how does your future look? How do we want to build our family? How do we want to do this? How do we want to do that? If we have a fight, what are our expectations? Do we run
Yeah.
outside the house and run away, or do we
Yeah.
deal with it? Right?
Yeah.
We need to
Yeah.
have these conversations, especially
Yeah.
because we cannot continue to allow our past pains to affect us, to now spill those over to our children, because we can't grow up and be selfless, right? To want to fix what needs to be fixed, because a lot of times the things that are happening in relationships are fixable. It's just
Very
that
true.
we're not willing to
Very
do it.
true. Very
Communication
true.
is simple. You can
See,
learn to communicate.
yeah, that's true. And when and It's something I want to touch on. You said something to have those conversations. Sometimes those conversations I had, because
Hmm.
when you're dating, everybody's in their best behavior. Everybody's sort of in their best. I honestly, when you're dating, even if it's 4 years, whatever, everybody's in their best behavior. You don't fart in front of them just yet. You don't talk about like your crazy aunt. That's me, man. You don't talk about your crazy aunts just yet. You don't talk about your snoring habits. You guys just joke about it. And then when you guys all lovey dovey, and when you guys now get married, that conversation stays in that relationship, not in the marriage relationship.
But
And
that's
then
the
this
problem.
the situation, that's what I'm saying. So it starts to be a little situation where, oh, this is not what we talked about. Well, that was then. This is now.
No, but that's the thing
That's
though.
when I found out that you were like this or this was happening. I didn't know your mom was going to come stay for 10 years. I didn't know your dad was going to come talk to me. Then it becomes so. I think a marriage, in my opinion, I think if two, like you said, something is fixable. A lot of issues are fixable. That's some of them that are not, but a lot of times it's fixable if both of them
Are
take
willing.
love out of it. If both of them are willing to want to be together and work it out, it's workable. Like I love marriage. Marriage is supposed to be easy, but it
Yep.
never is because based on what is happening, based on what, and I think it's expectations as well. And same thing as situationship. It could be two hurt people who don't want to communicate, who are just hanging out and don't want to address what it really is. To me, I wouldn't want to be in a situation. I mean, I'm married and I have been in situationships with my husband where we're not talking because he did something that offended me, and I don't want to have to talk to him because I don't want to communicate in that moment. So we're just doing everything except being husband and wife. He's talking to the kids on his own. I'm talking to the kids on their own. And then when we make up and we get along, it is beautiful and it's wonderful.
Yeah.
But how do we get those kinks out? Because situationships are not allowed in a marriage. And nobody should have a situationship. Either you're in a relationship going somewhere and you have that understanding. We are here together. If you're married, we're not getting a divorce. So we
Mhm.
bond the boat and we're here.
Yeah.
We're making it work out. We're communicating. We're identifying what you like, what you don't like, what I don't like,
Yeah.
how we're going to raise the kids. Your way is too harsh. What's the middle ground? It is workable. That way, you're never, a situationship is not, to me, it can get toxic when you're in a situationship. It's a waste of time, it's a waste of life. Because life, see, we don't know how long we have here. So if you happen to find somebody you're with and the person is solid and you guys just have some issues, fix those kinks. If you don't fix those kinks, go your separate ways and find who you are and be a quality person. You ain't gotta find somebody else, find you. Sometimes situationships are two lost people not even trying to find their way
Yeah.
and don't even know that they're lost.
And you know the worst part of situationships is when you've been in a situation. Some people, I don't even know how some people have been in a situationship for like 5 years and they don't know what's going
20
on.
years in some
And
marriages, I'm telling
then
you.
and then even when they're not married, and then the man one day comes with a woman that he's going to get married to.
Yeah, I can
And
tell
you
you a story about that.
and you've been working so hard trying
Yeah,
to be the main chick.
yeah,
And then now he has a main chick. You know how like, and even that's the thing. That's when you now are stuck with having to deal with these wounds.
yeah,
That's when now your heart is just open,
yeah,
right? Your heart is so vulnerable because that woman had standards
yeah.
and you did not, right?
Whoa.
She was
The
not
main
willing to
chick
do
has
that.
standards. The side chick doesn't have because she's been there. Or she didn't even know she was a side chick.
Yes.
Woo!
Like it's like a man, sometimes you hear these thing where even let's say Lamar Odom and Chloe, right? Lamar Odom was with his girl for so
Yeah,
long, no marriage.
yeah.
And then he meets Chloe and he gets married to Chloe in like a short time,
Hmm.
right? And that's what happens a lot of times. We need to stop accepting mediocrity. We need to stop accepting less than what we deserve. And that's the thing. We need to speak up. Sometimes women, oh, I don't want to ruin our what we have, so I'm not gonna say. If you want the man to level up and be in a relationship with him, tell him that I'm not willing to accept this because I've caught feelings.
Woohoo!
I'm not willing to accept this. It's either me and you are in a full-blown relationship where we're planning for our future, or we're not doing this.
Boom. That's it.
Because
Well,
it's the
and
woman.
that applies to marriage too.
Yes.
Seriously, and it applies to everything. No situationships,
Yes.
relationship going further or not at all. Period.
Because
Wow.
people, like, it's the women who stand up for themselves. It's the ones who talk, who speak up. It's the men who speak up. Those are the ones that usually will get back what they really want. Because a lot of times we don't want to speak up. We just
Because you know
accept
what?
and go,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, oh, I don't want to upset him because, he already told me that, I'm just, we're just hanging out and we're just vibing. And, I don't want to ruin this thing that we have because, I'm dignitized and, the D is so good. So I'm not going to just let it. But
Did you
who cares? Who cares about the D? Who cares? You are the one at the end of the day. If this individual decides to leave, you don't have the D no more. Like when you're in a
or you
situation,
can buy a D?
no, when you're in the situationship, you're renting. You're
Oh
renting.
wow.
You're renting.
Ooh.
And renters can move wherever they want. There's no commitment. There's no
That's
ownership.
ownership.
There's no
Wow.
ownership. You're renting. You're renting the man, right? And the man can come back whenever they want. But if you
Wow.
say, you know what, I care about you, and in the beginning, we started off being casual. But as the
Mm.
relationship went on, I've caught feelings. I've caught feelings. Tell him, right? And whatever decision he decides to make after that, accept that and move on because you dodged the ball, right?
Wow.
I
Wow.
caught feelings. And in
Wow.
catching feelings, I don't think that for me and my health and my mental health and my heart that I can continue this relationship or situation. I can't continue this situation because if something happens, I want to protect my heart. I want to guard my
Wow.
heart. I want to
Wow.
guard my heart. And
Wow.
it's okay for you to say that.
Wow. All
You owe
right.
it to yourself to
Wow.
to take control back because
Wow.
we gave control. Now you need to take it back and say, you know what? I like what we're doing. I can see myself with you, but I'm no longer willing to be strung along without knowing what
Mm.
I'm doing,
Wow.
right? I want
Wow.
to be able to call you whenever I want, not when you tell me I should call you.
Wow.
And then you're not picking up the phone and I'm hearing girls
I don't even know what you're doing when you're not.
and you
Oh my.
and
Oh
you're
my God.
DMing girls and you're DMing this and even you're picking up girls in front of me and I'm not cool with that.
Wow.
I want to be the main chick. And if
Wow.
you're not, and this is an ultimatum, it's either you make me the main chick and we build this together because technically you're still around. So that means you see a potential here. So it's
Yeah.
either we're going to feed that potential and grow together or you can go.
Wow.
And
So
if you're,
it
and then you go cry to yourself, but listen, you dodged the bullet.
that's a yeah. That's it's so easier to talk about it than in action because there are a lot
Mhm.
of women out there who they feel like I've been so single. I've been single for this long, and any guy that comes, you know. But when a woman says that, she's settling. So is it safe? So we've talked about so much. You've dropped so many nuggets. I have to go back and watch so I can write all the nuggets down. But while you were talking, I summarized it, and I appreciate you being here. And you have so much wisdom, and you and I can talk forever about this topic and so many other topics because I can see that you've had the experience. I've had the experience, and so many women here have probably had the experience, and they're probably saying, "Oh my God, that's true, that's true." So is it safe to summarize our nuggets for today's show to say number one, have standards,
Mhm.
right? Number one, have standards. And what standards is saying that you've leveled up to a point where you don't take crap. You see crap from afar and you won't take it. That's literally
Mhm.
standards and everything else, right? And then number two, it kind of goes with it, but and this is for men and women. I mean, because situationships also affect men. There's some good
Mhm.
men out there with some ratchet women out there who don't really care. There's some women who have been so hurt out there that they don't even care. They're the ones that use the man as opposed to the other way around. They've become the man in the relationship, right? So not to keep you too long, I know we've already gone past, of course, all the time.
Okay.
And don't accept mediocrity. So obviously, when you have standards, you know that you cannot. accept
Mhm.
mediocrity. It can't be average. It's not acceptable. And that's why a lot of women are complaining, are crying out. You know, there are women who are in marriages that haven't had sex in 2 years. What in the world? It's happening
Mhm.
simply because maybe she's hurt and she doesn't want it. He's getting outside, or he's just falling out of love with her. And to me, let's talk about it regardless.
Mhm.
Because if I'm in a marriage and that's happening for 2 years or for 2 months or 3 months, there's something fundamentally wrong somewhere. So don't accept, again, knowing what you want. And then you said, speak up and decide. Don't just sit there and be a robot and accept, okay, well, I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk. Because I do that sometimes. Like, I don't want any quarrels, please. I don't want to talk. But no, speak up because you know what you want. You have standards, and you're not gonna accept being average, right? And then number four, own. Once you guys have decided, you own the relationship. I think you said that. Own it. Own what you want. Own your part of what you're supposed to be. If after you guys have had the conversation or whatever, and then the last one you said, you owe it to yourself to take control, which is like together with that. Is there anything else you want to add? To it, because I'm going to type it up and put on the Instagram page as the nuggets that we got, because a
Yeah.
lot of people, like young 18-year-olds, and you can see, like, I worked some customer service job a long time ago, and I'm supposed to do my job, and I'll end up talking about relationships. So how are you? I will have girls crying. What are you doing? I'm just ordering stuff just to make me feel better. What happened? My boyfriend, there was two examples, two stories. One of them, she's a young 18-year-old. Her boyfriend she's been with for 3 years broke up with her to go with
Another
her
one.
best friend, and she's been telling this girl everything about the relationship with this guy, and this best friend is telling him everything she do, childish stuff, and she was bawling on a call when I'm taking her orders, and I didn't know what to do. I'm like, you know what, you're strong, you're better than this. And I had to like empower her. I had to talk to her because I'm like, why are you crying about a guy? He lost you. You're somebody quality. I was now talking to her and how to encourage her. The other one was a 60-year-old lady, been dating this guy for 20 years. And she was going somewhere, not even planned. And she saw him doing lovey dovey at the mall with some other lady that she has known as his cousin. She was bawling too. I'm like, why are these people coming to me? Am I the only one getting these calls? And this woman, I cry. It's okay to cry, but this woman are automatically broken. And she said now what she's doing, she's sleeping with all his friends. I'm like, what? I know. And she's crying. She's like, yep, I'm just gonna do that. I'm just gonna do that because he hurt me. I'm like, you're sleeping and reducing who you are with all his friends. So that would do what? She's
Yeah.
like, I don't know, but when he finds out, he's gonna be really hurt. I'm like, he clearly doesn't care about you. He was hugging it. You know what I'm saying? So women get hurt and don't know how to continue and just accept a guy for one little positive side of him that he will show.
Yeah.
And we,
Yeah. I
the point,
think I think like let's learn to forgive.
ooh,
Forgiveness is key, right? Because accepting that, what, I've been through it. Go through whatever you need to go through. Do that ugly cry. Do everything you got to do to purge yourself from that situation. Forgive. Because the people who don't forgive are the ones that want revenge. It
yeah.
says that vengeance is the Lord's, is not yours. Right?
Woo, that's
So
hard though.
forgive.
You wanna break that head, man. You wanna
Forgive.
break.
Right? And then once you've forgiven, and that's the thing that women and people in relationship, there's always red flags, but we ignore them.
Wait, woo, ignoring
Always
red
red
flags.
flags. We always see it. We always
We
see it, but
see it,
we're just like,
and then we
oh,
ignore it.
like he's here. At least he's here. At
Because
least,
the feeling, the positive feeling is dominant, so
yeah,
you don't see those things. You
yeah,
love him for those good things you see.
yeah,
So when you see him yelling at you, when you see him screaming at the waiter, when you see him leaving his boxes on the refrigerator, whatever, you're like, I just do it. And then when you get married or when you guys get serious, it elevates.
mm-hmm, yeah.
You're
So
right.
don't ignore red
Red
flags.
flags.
Don't ignore red flags. And I think the theme for today is don't put yourself in something that you don't want to be in. Don't
Ooh,
put yourself
moderators.
don't put yourself in something you don't want to be in. And that goes back to your standards. What do you want? Sit down, meditate about your life, reflect on your life. What do you want? I always ask people, even my kids, what do you want out of life? What do you want? What do you want?
Mm,
Because everything will be based on what you want. Like if you have a vision, if you have goals, if you have a mission for your life, everything will drive, like you will be so, you will not accept a lot of these things. And that's what I had to learn once I started to have standards and I started to really understand. And I always tell people, even look at, if you don't know what love is and what relationship quantifies, go and read the love letters in Corinthians. Okay, it tells you what love is, right?
mm,
Develop a relationship with Jesus, okay? Because that's the greatest example of what love is,
true,
right? And
true.
that's what I said. I thought I was in love till I fell in love with
You were
Jesus.
in like, mm-hmm.
When I fell in love with Jesus, that's when I started to learn and understand what love is, because it says love is patience. Love doesn't, there's so many things that love is. So
Ooh,
once you start to understand that, then you start to set standards that, listen, no man is supposed to treat me like this. No man is supposed to do this. That's when you start to be like, no, I'm not accepting mediocrity. I'm not accepting less than this, because there are other people out there whose husbands, even look at the convention. There's so many displays of, I was like, what? It's,
yep.
and then it's like, don't buy into what society's telling you, that there's no good men out there.
Good
Don't
men or good marriages or good
believe
relationships. What you're
that.
just talking
Don't
about is
believe
true.
that. There are great
True.
women, there are great men
Great
out there.
men. They're
There
great
are great
relationships too.
relationships out there. It's just because you're broken, so the lens in which you're looking at is not clear.
From a
You need to
broken
check. So
lens.
you need to
Yes.
check yourself and heal
Mm,
yourself, because once you start focusing on the great relationships, God will bring you yours, because now you're whole, you're healed, you understand what you're doing, you understand the relationship, because relationship is basically God showing us how he wants us to be with him, right?
mm,
That is that display of relationship. If you look at the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, the relationship that they have, that's what God created marriages and relationships for us to emulate that, right? So if you don't know a lot of these things, you're just going to accept whatever. But
yeah.
I believe that
True.
it's time that we stop accepting. So if you don't
Accepting whatever.
know, if you didn't take anything from today, one thing I want you to take away with is to sit down with yourself and do that self reflection of yourself. Heal yourself. Focus on healing yourself. Focus on getting your heart right. Once you focus on those things, I'm telling you, you're gonna start attracting things. Are just all these opportunities are gonna start coming your way, because that means you're putting your heart in a place where your heart is accepting only good things. That's what I mean when I say where your focus goes, your energy will flow, because
Wow.
then things, that the energy around you will be different. Even remove yourself from toxic friendships, right? Remove yourself,
Toxic
because
relationship. Toxic.
a lot of times
Toxic.
a lot of times when you look at situationships, most of the times all your friends are in situationships. I'm sorry.
Yep.
Because you go tell them like, oh my God, I've been trying to call him and he's not call. Your friend is like, it's okay, at least he took you this and he bought you all these things. No. If your friends tell you that, run away. Right?
At least this, but it's happening. So that's for people in a situationship or relationship. In a marriage, like everything you've said makes sense, and I'll put that up. And I'm so appreciative of you being in my head to say this thing, because that's what I would have said if I didn't have a guest, or if I had more guests, or if we're all like on a panel. Like for you, what's your opinion about, or what would you advise a woman in a marriage that is broken,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
or a man and a woman in a relationship, which I call situationship? Because if you have something other than what the plan is, that's a situationship. There's
Yeah.
a situation going on.
If
If you
you're in
have two
yeah.
people in a marriage that are broken, there's so much resentment, so much unforgiveness. It's fixable,
Mm-hmm.
but what would you? We're not. First of all, disclaimer: we're not experts. We are experts in our story, right? We're not experts. We're not doctors or anything. We're experts in our story. Maybe we've experienced enough to be able to say
Yeah.
this is the way forward. But what would you advise that couple, married
Okay.
or not married, who
Okay.
are in? They both are. They have unforgiveness. They have all kinds of things going on. What would
Mhm.
be the one thing? I mean, you said so much. You said
Yeah.
sit down and have a
Yeah.
reflection. That's one. But what's
Yes.
the one
I
thing before we
think
go?
if you're in a situationship, get out of it because it's not going to end up somebody's gonna get hurt, okay? If you have that sit down and you tell him what you want and your standards and they're still not willing, get out of it because that's not going to there's not going to be no good results in that. And then
Mm,
also the other thing is for marriages. I think we need to really sit down and reflect, why did we get married in the first
first
place?
place, yeah.
Right? Go back to the love that you initially had because something was there, even though
If it was love, though, if it
circumstances,
was love,
if it was love, but I'm saying you're in that marriage. Start looking at, because your energy, start looking at positive things. Don't only look at the negative things. Start looking at the positive things. There has to be
sorry, baby.
there has to be positivity around, right? Start looking at the positive, right? Attract positive things, right? And once you do that, once you start attracting positive things, start looking at, okay, the good things about your spouse, because I don't think they're all good. List out all the good things and every day write something down. Write the good things that they do every single day. Every single day. Don't focus on the negative. Just focus on the good things every day. Write something. The good things, the good things, the good things, the good things, right? And
And it
learn.
changes the vibration and it
Yes, it
changes
does.
all of that.
Because now you're focusing on the positive, and then that will get you to change how you're feeling about that person, right?
Mm,
Both of you sit down and we'll make a decision that, you know what, even though we're in this funk, every day we're going to make a list of what we like about each other, why we love each other in the first place, right? And then forgive one another.
mm,
Forgiveness, I'm telling you, forgiveness is so powerful. And I'm
yeah.
not talking about forgiveness, I'm talking about total forgiveness. Those are two
Mm,
different things.
okay.
Total forgiveness is the ability to forgive someone where when you see them, you're not triggered.
Mm.
Or when they do something down the line, you're
You
not
don't
triggered.
remember. You don't remember. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes a
So
lot of sense.
total forgiveness is also another way you heal yourself
Yeah.
because forgiveness was never for that person, it's for you.
For you, like, I was just gonna
It's,
say, it's really for you, not for the
it's
person. That
for you.
makes sense.
So
Oh wow.
forgive yourself, forgive the other person, and just make
Somebody finish. I want us to address that too. Somebody called Happy Cat is asking us a question based on my disclaimer, but finish that.
so you have to just continuously do that. And I believe that once you start looking at the positivity, you will start to fall back in love with that person. The things that they've done, you might not even focus so much on it, right? So just focus on love, focus on positive, focus on forgiving one another, focus on getting communicating, even going to counseling. I know sometimes our community don't like counseling, but seek counsel. Seek, I always like a God fearing, spirit led counselor, but speak to a counselor. Speak to a counselor. Have somebody that is not your friend, have somebody that has no ties to you guys mediate and help you guys to see things from other people's perspective. Because
Perspective.
a lot of times
Fantastic.
it's a scenario of misunderstanding. It's because we don't understand. We don't understand. So you can have somebody and you can try to understand. And I think when you hear it out loud, you'll be like, oh my God, yeah, maybe I
Sure,
was the
maybe. Yeah.
person, right?
I love it. I love it. I love it.
And
So
what
thank
advice
you.
does she need?
So I kind of put that, so I took that question off because I think it's I had to put them on timeout. They had other crazy things asked of you and I, so I kind of blocked the
What were
person.
they saying? What?
sexual sexual stuff.
Questions?
Sexual question. I put them on timeout because he wasn't flowing. It
Okay, so
wasn't
the
flowing
thing
when.
about this too is I'm celibate, so I don't talk about these sexual questions. I've been celibate for 7 years, okay?
Wow.
Celibate for 7 years. I'm just in a deep relationship with the Lord Jesus Christ. I don't only do this. When I tell you I'm a speaker, I actually preach as well. I have a
Oh,
podcast where I preach as well. So
oh, nice.
my that, I don't, at the end of the day, yeah, let's not get into
That's not. I know. That's a whole different topic, and I
Look at it.
respect you for saying that because that's your personal thing, and you've shared a lot of personal thing with us, and I appreciate that about you. Like you said from the beginning, you're an open book. For a grown woman to have 6 kids, a single woman have 6 kids and still be on fire. You have your business, we're in business together. You
Yeah.
have your business, you have other things you're doing in addition to the business. And I know running with having a teenager all the way to the youngest one. I mean, I commend you for that. God bless you for all that you do. And to be on here and be so open and share so, why am I hearing myself echo? And be here to share your wisdom with us. It's been amazing. I wrote down a whole bunch of nuggets, and that's why the show is called Get Sense. You know how in Africa I say Get Sense, and that's how the show started. Get every time I talk to my friends or anybody, let's just have sense. So with
Yeah.
wisdom, with having sense in these things, we
Mm-hmm.
don't have to settle for a
Mm-hmm.
life less than God created us for.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much it. So when we come on the show, is to talk to guests or me. Not that we are experts, but like I said, we're not experts in anything that we talk about, except we have certifications or whatever. But our experiences, like you being a preacher and being a speaker, you've talked to people and
Yeah.
you're able to advise, and you can only advise them to do better. If you were in that situation, this is what you would do. That's pretty much where you're an expert in. And
Mm-hmm.
thank you so much for taking the time to come on here. We appreciate you so much. You're gonna
Yeah.
be a repeat guest. Tell me to come on your podcast, come on
Yeah.
your for any topic. We can talk about it. And I
Yeah.
am a repeat guest. I've signed myself up already. And we're like 6 minutes over. Well,
Probably.
36 minutes over the
Yes. I
time.
want to just add something quickly because
Yes.
you know what? Sometimes we always talk about knowledge is power, right?
Hmm.
And that's what we've done today. We've given knowledge, right? But knowledge is not power.
It's not.
Applied knowledge is power.
Woo!
Applied
Moderators, why are you quiet?
applied knowledge is power. So make sure that as much as you're taking and you're hearing, if there's something that stands out to you, apply it to your life so that you can get the results. Because results is in the application, results
Mm.
is in the action. So don't just be, and the Bible says it, don't just be hearers of the word, be doers.
Doers of the
Because that's
word.
how your life is transformed when you do. So everything we've spoken about, yes, it is from our experiences. And I don't care. I don't have a PhD because I believe that experiential knowledge gives
Knowledge.
me the right to speak,
Yes.
gives me the right because I've been through it. I can go read 10, you can get a PhD and all of that, right? But that just gives you book stuff. But I've been able to have the experience to live
Experience life.
lived experiences that I'm sharing, right? But with everything, you got to weigh out what you're hearing. Don't just
Mm.
don't just be a person that just takes everything that everybody says. Weigh
Says.
the message, meditate on the message, and then apply it to your life so that you can have the abundant life that God created you to have. He did not create you to be mediocre, to be a laughing stock. He did not create you to be mediocre. He did not create you to be average. He did not create you to be less than. He created you to have abundance, right? And it says that abundance, God, because He's a God of abundance, you were created to have abundance. So if your life is not a reflection of what you were created to have, then you need to go back in the drawing board and start to make some necessary changes.
She just closed the show. I don't know what else to add. Thank you so much for that. Did you guys hear that? Moderators, you have to go and watch it and put it back. We have to put all this in the Canva and put it on Instagram. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. You're still giving nuggets. You
Thank
guys
you.
hear what she said? Be doers of the word, not hearers of the word. I always tell you guys when you come on the show, get your tabs, get your notebooks, get your pen, and write nuggets. But not just fill your book up with nuggets on Get Sense with a Jenny. Fill your book up with what you will apply to your lives. That way you can lead a life that God is proud of. Why she keeps coming on. You lead a life that God is proud of. I told you guys, I just want God to say, good job, my wonderful servant,
Mm-hmm.
right? In areas of my life. Like people should look at me with all my experiences, with how sometimes I feel I'm not qualified. For him to look at me and say, you know what? That's my child out there kicking butt. Literally. So take the things you've learned from here. Like she said, we're not experts, but we've lived it, so we're able to advise. And
Mm-hmm.
if we can just change one person, if
Yeah.
we can have one person look up and say, I'm not alone. If we can look at one person and say, you know what, I'm in this situation, I can get out of it because I heard this message. And I'm asking you to share it with your friends and your neighbors and your family, and come back next Friday. And go to Portia. She's on Instagram. Portia, share everywhere they can listen to your work and contact you, and then we can close.
Okay, so I am on Instagram, and my Instagram handle is Portia Boating. It's PORCIA underscore lowercase BOATENG. So all lowercase. My name, my first and my last name, just with an underscore in between. And then also, I have, if you are on Apple Podcasts, all the podcasts, I have a podcast called Submitted to Surf Canada. I haven't been really updating it, but I do have at least 12 things that you can go and you can listen to and just get a glimpse into my life and what it is that I do. And yeah, follow me on social media. I do a lot on Instagram, and then
Okay.
that can spell you out. But that's me in a nutshell. Let's get to know each other because we're all in this life thing together.
Awesome. Thank you. And that's the end of the show. Thank you guys so much. God bless you. God bless you, Portia. Let me go ahead and end the podcast. You guys all have a wonderful weekend. Thanks. Thank you for coming on. All right. Let me end it. All right. You're